spoken. And that's what Skip told me.
The players have spoken. Carson Wentz did not make the top 100.
I want that energy.
Dak Prescott, 46.
I want that energy. I want that energy. Hold on. It's coming up, Jenny. It's coming up. Let's see. It's coming up in about 3 or 4 more segments.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, we have 2 big issues operating here, and I will address them in order. Okay. I have told you from the start of this list, from the start of this show, it doesn't work not to include every starting quarterback in the top 100. If you start for an NFL team just by virtue of the value of your position, quarterback, you're going to rank in the top 100 players in the National Football League. I'm sorry, you just are. So let's forget for the moment about Carson Wentz didn't make the top 100. Do you realize here's some other quarterbacks who did not make the top 100? Ben Roethlisberger. I get it, he didn't play, right, but he's still afloat. He's still a member of the National Football League. I'm pretty sure he's going to play this year. So he is eligible for this list, and he did not make it.
No,
seriously?
No, he should have made it.
How about Baker Mayfield? He was the toast of the town.
Hell no.
Baker Mayfield a year ago was it. He was the it quarterback, right?
And this year, and the pre-2019,
you cannot tell me he's not one of the top 100 players.
He was not, Skip.
How about Phillip Rivers? He's long in the tooth, but Indy loves him, and Indy banked a bunch of money on him, and they're betting their whole season on Phillip Rivers, right?
Right.
Not in the top 100? Seriously? How about Matt Ryan, a guy you love from your old hometown, from Atlanta, right?
Yes.
MVP in 2016. And he didn't make the top 100, and he actually had a pretty good year last year, right? Not in the top 100. How about Matt Stafford? I know hurt also, but a lot of people pegged him to be the comeback player of the year.
Yes.
He's still playing. He's still eligible for this list.
Right.
He didn't make the top 100. Derek Carr, Jared Goff, Teddy Bridgewater. I could go on. All these quarterbacks who play the most special position in your game, in your sport, didn't make the top 100.
Right.
So we know the quarterbacks who did make the top 100, like it's a joke to me. I already told you Kyler Murray is 90th, which is absurd. But then we start going down to 87, Josh Allen, then Tannehill, then Kirk Cousins, then Dak, then Jimmy G, then Deshaun, then Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady up at 14, Drew Brees at 12. So the big 3, Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Drew Brees,
all within the top 10.
Didn't even make the top 10. So times are a-changing, as we're talking about. And we know for sure that Mahomes and Russ and Lamar made the top 10. We're just not sure about the order, but I'm going to get, I don't know, maybe Aaron Donald's going to be number 1 again, and I'll go out of my mind. But it's probably going to be Patrick Mahomes. I'm going to guess. But the point is, so here's what we do know about the top 100. We know that there are 13 quarterbacks in the top 100. So that means that at very best, your guy Carson Wentz would be ranked 14th. But do you think that the votes had him ranked higher than Big Ben? I doubt it. Or Matt Ryan? I doubt it. Or I'm not even sure he would rank above Baker, but he might have.
Well, Skip, I'm surprised I didn't know Matt Ryan. I thought he would be in the 60s or something. I just started watching it lately because I'm just like, I'm looking at some of these names. I'm like, wow. I just wish it would have been like, we could have voted on something like this.
Okay.
It'd be interested to see, Skip, how people would have voted.
Okay, well, I got it. So I'm just going to guess that there might have been 5 of these did not make the top 100 quarterbacks who got more votes than Carson Wentz did. So that would rank him about 20th overall.
But Skip, because remember, just in 2018, he was third. He was third.
Third on the list.
On the list. Yeah. And he went from 3rd to 96 in 1 year.
Okay.
And so he goes, so basically, so I guess we shouldn't be surprised, Skip. Not if you think about it, last year he was 96th. And he drops off the list. So, I mean, he didn't have the 4th spot.
Now we get to issue number 2.
Yes.
Carson Wentz. I have told you from the start of this show, I've never been quite sold on your guy, walk it to him.
Yes.
Never been quite sure of him under fire. Poise begins to wane a little bit deer in headlights. Accuracy tends to come and then go.
What did he show you last year in
Okay, I'm glad you brought that up because you said that he, what was your thing? He played out of his mind down the stretch. Okay, here's what he did down the stretch. he got to play the New York Football Giants twice. Well, listen to me. The first game and the last game of those four.
Okay.
Giants. They went 4-12. The second game in that stretch was at Washington. They finished 3-13. The third game in that stretch was my Cowboys, who wound up 8-8 and had an abysmal down the stretch. Abysmal.
Is that his fault?
No, but you play whoever you play, but you're playing a bunch of garbage.
If you don't mind me asking, Skip, how many times did the Cowboys play the Giants in 2019?
You know, I think I was in the middle of making.
Okay, you're right. You're making a good point.
Thank you very much. So here are the QBRs of the guy who was playing out of his mind against the garbage left over in the NFC
remember the garbage.
Okay. Against the Giants in the first game, he had a QBR of 32 on a scale of 0 to 100. Then he had a good game at Washington because they had a big late comeback in that game against a really bad team, and he had a 72. But against Dallas, he didn't play very well, and Dak played worse, and he had a 64. That's scale of 0 to 100. And then at Giants, he stunk it up, and they managed to pull away late, and he had a 40 QBR. That's an average QBR in those four garbage games of 52, which is right in the middle of scale of 0 to 100. So QBR says he played average, and you said he played out of his mind in those last four games.
Okay, if you don't mind me.
Average.
Okay. You said Washington and the Giants are garbage. If you don't mind me asking, can you tell the people at home how many times the Cowboys played the garbage Giants in 2019?
They played them twice. And they played Washington twice, and they played Philly twice. And they beat the feathers off the Eagles the first time, and then Dak got his shoulder banged up, and he couldn't make a throw.
I thought I was in the middle of making a point.
Yes, thank you.
I thought I was in the middle of making a point. Thank you. I really appreciate that. So in other words, garbage Giants, garbage Washington, your Cowboys played those teams twice, so did the Eagles. But when all the marbles, so basically the whole NFC East, Skip Bayless was trying to tell the people at home, was a garbage division. So somebody's got to win this trash division, right? So all the trash is in the middle of the table. All the teams. So Philly and the Cowboys, winner takes all. Your guy died.
I kept saying, how are my Cowboys still alive? They kept losing their way into a deciding game. What?
Hold on, time out. You had a 3-game lead.
Yeah.
And you're talking about how is your guy still alive. You had a lead.
Yeah.
With 5 games to go, you had a 3-game lead, and you got the brakes beat up you. So I'm just trying to figure out how can your guy, with all that talent, was Amari Cooper on that list?
He didn't play away games.
Well, time out, Skip.
He only played at home.
I just want to make sure. So I'm looking at this. Okay, Amari Cooper made the list. You had 2 offensive linemen make the list. You had a running back to make the list. Your quarterback made the list.
Okay, and your point is?
And you didn't make the playoffs. My guy had nobody but Jason Kelsey on the offensive side of the football that made the list, and his team got into football. Tell me how if he's not a top 100 player.
And you told me that my quarterback, who went 8-8 and missed the Pro Bowl last year, and missed the playoffs, obviously, deserve $42 million a year. What?
Skip,
what? I don't get it.
Skip, that's a different argument. That's a different argument.
Yeah, with a different sort of motivation behind it. You want to wreck my salary cap, right? So here's what I know about Carson Wentz. His playoff stats, I'm going to give you the total playoff stats of a guy who missed the top 100 because he should have missed the top 100. His playoff stats in total over 4 years in this league, he is 1 of 4 for a grand total of 3 yards. That's all he has to his name in the playoffs. 1 of 4 for 3 yards.
You saw Jadeveon Clowney spear the man in the back of the head. You saw that. You came out here that Monday and said he should have been flagged for that play.
My quarterback would have stood up to that hit.
Hold on.
My quarterback does not get hurt.
You just mentioned
most durable quarterback in the league is Dak Prescott.
You just told the people at home that your quarterback made excuses for your quarterback losing down the stretch because he played with a banged up arm.
Well, just that game, just the Philly game at Philly, banged up arm. Didn't practice all week.
Was it banged up against Washington?
Missed Tavon Austin. Cold, just flat out missed it.
If you don't mind me asking, so what was his arm like against New England? What was his arm like against the Saints? What was his arm like against Minnesota?
You gave him Fs for all those games, and then you said $42 million a year.
That's a different argument. See, there you go, Skip. See, I see what you're trying to do.
Okay, the players know that on Carson Wentz's watch, Nick Foles won Super Bowl MVP. That's all you need to know. Nick Foles, who busted in Jacksonville, won Super Bowl MVP with the same talent that Carson Wentz was struggling with.
Even the alley cat will find a whole chicken in the trash every once in a while.
Okay.
It was just the same Nick Foles that didn't succeed the first time around in Philly. And then he went to where? The Rams, and didn't have success. And then he was a backup in Kansas City. So let's not pretend that Nick Foles is enjoying success every location that he's been at, because he's had success once. Well, he had the first time he went 27 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, made the Pro Bowl.
Yep.
And then guess what? That went away. And then he came back and had the greatest 2-game stretch in playoff history, Skip. I believe that championship game and that Super Bowl might be the greatest 2 games that we've seen a quarterback play.
Yep.
And it's not, and normally we don't see a quarterback like a Nick Foles. Now, if Brady or Manning or Elway had type games like that, we would like, oh, wow, we expect that. But nobody expected that from him. With that being said, all I'm saying is, Skip, if you take away a team's top 3 offensive receivers and his offensive line is banged up and they don't have a running game, and somehow you can make... Imagine if you took Derrick Henry away from Ryan Tannehill and his 3 top offensive receivers. You think Tennessee making the playoffs? Hell no.
So, Philadelphia management and coaching staff was so sold on Carson Wentz's heroic stretch run last year that they drafted Jalen Hurts in the 2nd round. And I don't believe they drafted him to keep